what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you keys. I'm going to give you some spices so that your marriage will become tastier. It'll become enriched. It'll grow. That's the idea of this program. So keep watching. All right. So the next one is, the next slide, as you see God. When the word love comes, what comes to my head is God. And the best person to know God's heart, the Father's heart, is the Son. And that is Jesus. So what did Jesus say about the Father's heart? What this Father wants? It's beautifully written in Matthew chapter 22 verse 37 like this. It says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. What's the verb here? Love. So Matthew talks about love. This is what St. Matthew heard from Jesus, and he put it down on paper. Love the Lord. That's the word. That's what God likes. That's what the Father likes. This is what the Son told each one of us. Right. Let's move a little forward. If you see what St. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 13:13, it goes like this. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of this is love. The greatest of this is love. So here we are. After Jesus, St. Paul tells the greatest of these is love. Is love. So God our Father is telling, love is what I like. Or Jesus is telling, what is in my Father's heart is love. And St. Paul is writing to each and every one, especially in the context of marriage. He is telling, out of faith, hope, and love, the best, the greatest is love. So, when we have a build-up like that, when God wants it, will not your spouse want it? If your spouse is next to you, I invite you, look at his face, look at her face, and ask the question, do you want love? If you have your spouse next to you, ask. There is no one else. Ask. And you will hear the word yes. You will hear the word yes. Okay, let's move a little forward. Can you remember the love that you had early in your marriage? Wasn't it like this? Take a look at this beautiful picture. Wasn't it like this? Maybe you are 10 years into marriage, or 15 years, or 20 years, or it could be 25 years even. If you go back down the memory lane, was it like this when you started everything? I'm sure you will say yes. I'm sure you will say yes. Can you remember the times that you forgot everything except love? You forgot time. You've been talking for hours and hours. You look at the wristwatch and say, oh my goodness, it's gone 2 hours, 3 hours. I never realized it. Maybe you forgot to work. Maybe you forgot to eat. Yes, I'm telling you, during that period, love was written here. Love was written all over. And that's the reason why you forgot everything. The courtship days, the dating days, you remember? That's where love was overflowing. But I have a question. After so many long years in marriage, do you still have that love today? 10 years into marriage now, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, do you have that same amount of love? Do you have that same amount of love? If no, what are the reasons for not having it? If no, what are the reasons for not having it? I want to tell you a small little story, a beautiful story, a question to ask. Let's say you have 2 wine bottles, good brand, 2 wine bottles. This wine bottle is old, let's say 1 year, or let's say it's brand new. And on the other hand, you have another wine bottle which is 10 years old. 10 years old. Brand new one and 10 years old. Which one do you think is tastier? The new one or the 10-year-old wine bottle? You know the answer. I can hear your answer. Obviously, it is 10 years old. The longer it is, tastier it is. Now, I'm going to bring that story to this topic. If the longer it is, tastier, in that case, if you are 10 years into marriage, 20 years into marriage, 25 years into marriage, how much tastier your marriage should be? You need to ask. You know, early days, during courtship days, when you were walking with your spouse or your girlfriend, your boyfriend, you put your hand like this and you held it tight, held him tight. You know, it was like this, tight. Now 10 years, now 20 years. When did you last hold his hand or hold her hand? Simple. That'll give you the answer. Whether it has been tastier over the years or not. I leave it for you to decide, or I leave it for you to answer. Let's move a little forward. Okay. Here you have a question. Can you drive this car with no fuel inside the tank? Look at this meter. Your meter is showing empty. When you get into your car and you see your meter, your gas meter, your petrol meter, your diesel meter like this, will you be able to drive this vehicle? No. Obviously, it's a huge no. No, cannot drive. Because you won't be able to even start at times. Even if you start not far, your vehicle will stop because you don't have fuel to run this vehicle. You don't have fuel. Can there be a love tank deep inside your heart without love? That's the vehicle that I told you. Apply that theory to your life, to your married life, and ask the question, if I do not have lots of love inside my heart, will I be able to drive my car that I call marriage? Will I be able to? It is important. It is important. Okay. So the next one. Symptoms of an empty love tank. How do you know whether my love tank is full or empty or halfway? How do I know? I will give you some little symptoms. It's good to know this. Say, when you go to a doctor, let's say you are sick, you go to a doctor, what do you think the doctor do? The doctor will ask about 10 questions. He will ask, do you have fever? Can you eat? Do you have the appetite to eat? Do you feel sleepy? What is the color of your urine? Do you have a stomach ache, 100 questions he is asking from you or she is asking from you. Why? Because he or she, this doctor, wants to get this diagnosis right so that the doctor would be able to give the right medicine. Similarly, here we have some symptoms to know whether my love tank is empty or not. Empty or not. First one, look at this. This is where our love tanks could be like this. It could be like this. Right? If it is like that, the first one I'll tell you will be harsh words. Yes. If your spouse's love tank is empty, your spouse will be using harsh words at you. If your love tank is empty, you will also be talking like this. Yes. Second one, minimum or no communication. At times, when your love tank is empty in that house, it's like a ghost house because the two spouses are not talking. Each one gives the other the silent treatment. The silent treatment. And you do not hear words. Minimum talking. Yes. The third one, very late arrivals. I tell you, the person who is working outside will make sure that person comes home late because that person doesn't have any happiness when he is at home because his or her love tank is empty. Why should I come early to the place and feel that empty love tank? Why? So that person comes late. Fourth one, flaring up for the slightest thing. When the love tank is empty, this is a good symptom. Sometimes you tell something simple. It's nothing to get irritated about. But if that person's tank is empty, he will start firing. And then you will ask, what did I tell you to come out like this? What did I tell you to come firing at me like this? These are simple symptoms that you start seeing. See the next one. Children becoming the mouthpieces because the two spouses are not communicating because their tanks are empty. So when one person wants to convey something to the other person, what they do is they choose the child. Tell your mom to do this. Tell your dad to do this. This is what happens. This is what happens. And the last one is a touching one. Take a look at this. Absence of conjugal act. Absence of conjugal act. When there is no love, there is no conjugal act. Yes. Because it is only two people overflowing with love will put the arms around the other person. Yes. It's only when you overflow with love, you start sharing your body with the other person. When that love tank is zero, when it is empty, this does not take place. Or it could be minimal. It could be minimal. This last one, you need to ask. When did I last? You as a married couple, when did I last get into this act? We'll talk about it as we go further down. All right. Next slide. Let's see. Do you have these experiences? I want to tell you this. If you take an iceberg, I come from sea, so I'm pretty familiar with icebergs. The saying is like this: you only see 1/10 of an iceberg, which is above the water level, to our naked eyes. Actually, 9/10 of it is under the surface, under the water surface. You don't see it at all. You don't see it at all. So, those little symptoms which I just described in my previous slide, they happen to be that 1/10 of it. But 9/10 are down below, which you cannot see. And I'm going to tell you those 9/10 of some of it in this slide. Take this. I've done so much. Maybe your spouse is telling you, I've done so much for my spouse, but till now, not a word of thanks. Ask this question. I've done so much. Your spouse could be telling, I've done so much for my spouse, but till now, not a word of thanks. Not a word of thanks. Sincere enough. So many birthdays, anniversaries passed by. He hasn't given me even a simple present. I don't know whether the wives are doing like this to the husbands when I tell this. All right, the third one. Bought everything for her. The husband is telling, bought everything for her. Still, she doesn't love me. Yes. Husband will be telling like this. See the fourth one. He is rough all through the day with words, but at night, jumps on me. He jumps on me. Throughout the day, he's firing, he's using harsh words. When the sun goes down, and when it is time to hit the bed, the husband is trying to put the hand like that. Do you think that wife will allow? Do you think that wife has a heart to cooperate with this husband? You need to ask these questions. These are the things which are underneath the water level, which we do not see, but they are deep inside our spouse's heart. Yes. And crying inside, suffering inside. Nobody sees that. Nobody sees. I can write a whole heap of things, but some of it I thought I should share with you. I should share with you. When these things happen, your spouse's heart is broken. It's cracked. He starts thinking, she starts thinking, is this the person that I saw 10 years before, 15 years before, 20 years before? Did I see these things? No. No. It was all good at that time. But what happened over the years? Over the years, what happened? Okay, let's get to the next. How can you get it changed? This is the question. So we analyzed our current situation. Now we need to find solutions. How can you get it changed? How can you get this empty needle on the empty side to the full side? I need to give you some help. I need to give you some answers. How are we going to get this needle on this E to F, empty to full? Let's see how we can do that. To a tank full of love. Tank full of love. This is what we are trying to do tonight. Okay. See this question. Think for a moment. If you do not know Chinese, let's say any language, I chose just Chinese. Think for a moment. If you do not know Chinese, and if someone speaks to you in Chinese, will you understand? Look at this. Will you understand? He's talking to you in Chinese, and you do not know Chinese. Will you understand? It's a no. You will not understand. You will not know head or tail about it. You do not know because you don't know this language to understand or to talk. You don't know. Knowing the language is important. It is important. If you don't know the right love language of your spouse, your marriage may well be in trouble. I'm telling you today. If you do not know exactly what is the love language of your spouse, your marriage is in trouble. On the other hand, if you learn it, if you come to know what his love language is, what her love language is, your marriage will be, if it is here now, I will assure you, it'll go boom like that. If you are ready to know it and to start practicing it. That much I can tell you. Let's get into the next one. How can we find the correct love language? How can we find it? This is the phase. This is what we are going to do. How can we find it? It's worth to find. It is really worth to spend time on this. It is worth to do it because end of the day, it's the key to get your marriage up from wherever it is now. From wherever it is now. Let's get into it. Right? How do you find your spouse's primary love language? First thing is through this word, magic word called love. And actually, your spouse is giving some signals to you. Your spouse is giving some signals to you for you to pick up, for you to know what her love language is. The first thing is complaints. What is she complaining about? Maybe she's telling things like, I've done this, that, everything. I haven't heard the word thank you from you. She's complaining. That tells you something. And the second one, the request. The request. Maybe he is telling you, I like to take you on a trip, let's say to London or to Bangkok or to Singapore. He is giving you a signal. So the two main things are, what is your spouse complaining? Second one, what is your spouse requesting from you? You need to know. The problem is, it's not written on her head or on his head. It's not written. But he or she will give you these little signs. If you are smart, you will pick it up. You will pick it up. We'll see what these things are. Right? Okay. So, here we go to the main 5 love languages. These are the 5 love languages, the main ones. The first one, words of affirmation. It's called words of affirmation. We will run through each one of these things. But first, I want you to first come to know what these 5 things are. Words of affirmation. Second one, quality time. Quality time. Third one, receiving gifts. Receiving gifts. The fourth one, acts of service. Service that you give. And the last one, the physical touch. The physical touch. These are the 5 love languages in any marriage that you see. Words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. I thought I should put it in a small little picture to you. And this is what I selected. So it's hanging on that marriage line. Service, words, time, gifts, and touch. These are the 5 things. They're hanging on clips. So these 5 things are there in your marriage, with your spouse, with you as well. You have all these 5 things. Let's analyze and see each one of them, how they are. But before that, a few little things. You and your spouse. You and your spouse may have all 5 love languages. All these 5, both of you could be having. It could be maybe quality time a little bit this much, but receiving gifts could be this much. Physical touch could be this much. Acts of service could be that big, that big. So each one of us, we have all these 5 things. But each will have only one primary love language. That stands tall. That's the one you have to give to your spouse. That's the one that you have to give to your spouse. When you give that to him, to her, your marriage prospers. I can tell you. You need to figure out what this primary love language is. That's the key. That's the key. In most occasions, your primary love language is different to your spouse's. This is the problem that we have. I need to tell you. The way you like to receive love, your primary love language, the way you like to receive love is not the way your spouse is receiving it. That's not what she wants. The way she wants or he wants is different to the way that you would like to receive. This is the conflict. This is the conflict. I'll bring a small little example. Then it'll get digested to you. Right? Maybe you as the husband, you would like on a Saturday evening to put your legs up on the stool and to watch a beautiful video, maybe action video. But if you ask from your wife, what would you like to do on a Saturday evening? She will not tell that. She will not tell that. She might tell, look, I love to take our 3 children, you and the 3 children, and let's go to a park. It's beautiful out there this evening. It's a starry night. Good weather. Let's do a small walk. She might tell that. And you will tell something else. So you see the conflict, how it starts now? See how it starts? This is what we need to know. What is she conveying when she tells, with our kids, you and I, all 4 of us, or all 5 of us, or all 3 of us, let's go out to the park or to a restaurant? She might tell. But in that, she's conveying something. It's not about eating. It's not about walking. It's about something else. We need to pick that signal. That's important. See the last one. That is, the way you receive love is different to the way your spouse receives it from you. What she gives you, let's say wife, what your wife gives you is not what you are giving back to her. Because your primary love language is different to her. In most cases, it is different. The way she loves you and the way you love her, they are different. Yes, receiving and giving, different. This is what has to be corrected. We need to identify what she wants. We need to identify what he wants, and we need to give that. You remember what Christ said? He said, if someone asks for bread, yeah, will that person give a snake? Yeah, you remember? There was something like that Jesus said. You need to give what she's asking. You need to give what he is asking. That's where marriage prospers. We need to get this thing right. All right, let's move. So, if your spouse is to really feel the love that you give, look at this, love that you give, you need to talk. You have to speak in your spouse's primary love language. You need to talk that language. Look at that picture. You need to talk that picture. You need to speak those words. You need to give that service. You need to spend that time. You need to give that touch. You need to give that gift. That's where you understand this is the primary love language of my spouse, and here you are. When you do that, rest assured, if you have already spent 20 years, it will be double or maybe triple. Yes, love is overflowing. Overflowing. This is the key. Okay, here we start with the love languages. The first one, if words of affirmation is the primary love language of your spouse, right? Is the primary love language of your spouse. Actions are always not big as words. You could be sweating all day long. All day long you could be sweating. But with one word, yes, one word, you can change all that. First, I'll talk the opposite of it. Maybe your wife has been, let's say you're married for 15 years. 10, 5, 15 years you are married. Let's say you are the husband, and your wife has been cooking for you all 15 years. All 15 years she's been cooking for you. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. All 3 meals she has been cooking for you day in, day out for the past 15 years. 15 years. Supposing your wife's primary love language is words of affirmation, and if you have not yet, for all these 15 years, if not, forget about 15 years, for the past 1 month, if you have never told her these 2 words, thank you. If you have not told those 2 words to her, I'll tell you, she could be keeping the pillow like this and crying every night. I'm telling you. Yes, she's craving for that. Ask the question, when did I last say thank you to my wife, who has been cooking for me for all these years? Ask the question. Good. This is good. Ask this question. Or maybe you've done Let's say you have never said thank you to her for all this time. You can always make amends. You can always put things right. Today will be a good night, a good evening to look into her eyes and tell her, I'm sorry. For all these months, if not for years, I couldn't tell thank you to you. I want to tell sorry to you tonight. Tell her. But don't do like this. Your wife is standing like this and you are looking at the wall and you tell her, look, I want to tell her I'm sorry about it. Don't look at the wall and do that. Look into her eyes and say, look, all these years, my mouth didn't open to you to say thank you. I want to tell you I'm sorry about it. If her primary love language is words of affirmation, my goodness, I'll tell you, it'll be like roses, in her heart tonight. It's in your hands. The best thing in this primary love language is it doesn't cost. It does not cost. It does not cost pounds, dollars, month, rupees, nothing. It's only words. Words that come from your heart. Very important. Very important. So, when thank you comes out without a request, it weighs a lot. It weighs a lot. It weighs a lot. Yes, I'm telling you. Years gone past by when I was reading this book, I realized something. I'm telling you about my personal experience. I realized something. Of course, I tell my wife, thank you. She would also be listening to this webinar. I tell her thank you. But it's not been a regular thank you. After reading the book, I started every time I sit with her for food at home. After eating, I make it a point to look at her and say, thank you, Priyanka, for the food. Yes. Two things happen. I'm telling you, two things happen. One is I'm filling my wife, her heart. And the second thing is my son, when we have dinner, it's always four of us. We have an aunt also. My son is seated in front. My wife is on my left-hand side. And my son listens to it. It's an investment. One day, he gets married. I hope he will also do the same thing to his wife. Do it. It's good. Do it. Let's see the third one. Similarly, rough words spoils everything. If your wife's primary love language is words of affirmation, you come out with rough words, irritating words. It kills her. Kills her. Please, don't do it. Don't do it. If you want to get your marriage upstairs, if you want to get your marriage growing, and if your wife's primary love language or your husband's primary love language is words of affirmation, don't talk harsh words. Please, no. It's like acid to your marriage. Don't do it. Please, no. All right. Let's shift to the next one. And the next one is quality time. Quality time. Something that is very difficult to do today, but let's go ahead, go with this. What it says, when you leave everything and stay with this person, it speaks volumes of love. Volumes of love. I have a friend of mine who works on board a ship, and he works on contract basis. And he works for 6 months of the year, and he comes back home and he stays on vacation for, let's say, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, like that. And during those 3 months, let's say 3 months, during those 3 months, instead of spending time with his spouse, what he does is that he does all the other things. And his beloved wife is crying. Why? It's because his wife's primary love language is quality time. She wants him to spend time with her. But he does not realize. He thinks, when I'm at vacation, yes, I must do this, I must do that, I must do this, I must do all those things. Maybe his last one is to spend time with his wife. Yes. They are having trouble in their marriage. They're having trouble in their marriage. Yes. I'll tell you something for this quality time about my life. Okay. I want to share my experience. I want to be vulnerable tonight. That's okay. God has given me these experiences to share them. And I shouldn't be keeping them inside my pockets. No. Tonight I'm going to share them with you. You know, I'm working here in Sri Lanka. My wife tells me, look, this month we must go to a shrine which is far away from Colombo. It's called Madhu. So she tells me that, we should go to Madhu. For a long time we haven't been. Let's go to this Madhu shrine. So it goes to my head. Yes, Madhu shrine, yes. I mean, we go, we pray, and we pray to our Mother Mary, we respect her, we do a lot of devotional things there. But inside that, there is another thing. And that is, my wife likes to spend time with me. So it's a drive for about 6-7 hours from our place to that shrine. And coming back, it's another 6-7 hours. And obviously, I mean, when we go, we stop, we eat something, drink something, spend some time. So, I know what this thing is. Yes, Mother Shrine is there, but she also loves to have this quality time with me. Quality time with me. So I make it a point. Not to go during the weekend. I want to show her that I really love her. So what do? I put a leave from my working place and I say, I put a leave and I want to take you. I want to spend time with you. Let's together go and worship our God in this shrine. And boom, I don't have to tell. She makes cutlets, this, that, everything. And our car is packed. Here we go. And I'll tell you, for the remaining days, it's like boom, flowers. Very, very important. This is how I came to know. Yes, quality time is her primary love language. My wife's primary love language is quality time. So I need to give it. It was not written here when she got married to me. No. But from these little things I came to know. And now I'm giving it. Let's go to the next one. Quality conversation, working together, tells that quality time is the love language. Maybe your spouse, Saturday, or maybe tomorrow, Sunday, she tells you, look, we need to clean the garage. Maybe she may have told you already. She'll tell you, we need to clean the garage. It's not about cleaning garage. It's about you and your spouse, you and your wife, working together, spending time. When you are cleaning, you are talking. This is what she wants. So next time when she tells you something, next time when he tells you something, try to see what is behind this. What's behind it? Is it quality time that we are doing when we get ourselves engaged in this activity? Postponing, disturbing, not listening is like acid. To a person whose primary love language is quality time, if you tell, no, I mean, if I told my wife, look, we can't go to Madhu Shrine in this month, we go next month. Oh, she's down. She's down. I need to understand this. So never postpone. If your spouse's primary love language is quality time, never postpone. Try somehow to make it. Somehow to make it. Listen to him, listen to her. What your spouse is telling you. Try to read what is behind what he or she talks. This is important. Let's get to the next one. And the next one is acts of service. If acts of service is the primary love language of your spouse, I will tell you something. Let's say your wife's primary love language is acts of service. Most wives do this thing. Yes. I mean, she cooks and gives you. You put all your dirty clothes in the washing machine. She would be the one who would wash them, dry them up, take it inside, iron them, put them on hangers. She would be the one. If that is her primary love language, acts of service, you need to do the same thing to her. When you do that, then she knows, wow, great. Let's read. Words this spouse likes to hear from you is, can I do this for you? Can I do this for you? Without she telling you, when you tell her, look, today I'm going to clean the garage and help you out. Mum, she's on moon, I'm telling you. She's on moon. Yes. It's good. Today is Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday. Try and do these things and see what I'm telling you, whether it works or not. Let's go to the second one. If you look and do the works without your spouse telling you, you are the person. That's important. That's what I told you just. Before she tells you, before she reminds you, that's important. It has to come from you. It has to come from you. It should be within you. And you must do it. Acts of service involves some work. It involves some sweat. If you are the person who puts your legs on top of the stool and always starts reading newspapers or always on the internet or always on the phone, this wife will be like this. Yes, I am telling you. So you need to put all those things aside. Need to put all those things aside and come. She could be working in the, let's say, inside the kitchen, out there in the garden. Yes, could be there. No need for her to tell. You go to the garden and tell her, I will do the watering of plants. Tell her. It could be something difficult. I know these things are like, difficult ones for lots of husbands, especially. You need to do something. You need to change yourself. And I'm telling you, when you do that, your wife, your spouses, roses come out. And marriage gets enriched. Enriched. The last one. Being lazy, broken commitments tells that I am not bothered about your feelings. She tells you, last Saturday you promised me that you would repair this leaking tap. Last week you promised me that you will do it, but you never did. Look, can you do it this week? And you tell, no, this week I'm busy. I'll do it next week. Next week. What do you think? You think your wife is going to be happy about it? Or do you think your wife's head is going to fall down like this and walk away from you? Ask this question. This is important. Acts of service. You need to see this thing. Let's move to the next one. Receiving gifts. If receiving gifts happens to be the primary love language of your spouse, point number one, don't think this is a worldly thing. One who receives this appreciates the love that comes with it. Appreciates. I'll tell you, once again, I want to bring my own experience. For the past few years, I'm going to tell you something where I'm not so good, where I fell down, something negative within me. Yes, I'm not feeling shy or bad to share those things with you. For the past so many years, many years I would say, I have not given a gift to my wife on her birthday. Yes, I'm telling you, this is the truth. If you speak to my wife, she'll tell you yes. She'll tell you yes. Recently, I was thinking about this. So this year, on her birthday, few days before, what did I do? I went out. I bought an expensive necklace. I thought for myself, receiving gifts could also be one of the love languages of my wife. And if I do that to her, I'm pretty sure she would be happy. She would be happy. Not only I bought one necklace, but I bought two. You know why? So on her birthday, and I still got this whole thing wrapped up. I took one and I gave the other one to my son. So we sang happy birthday, everything, we cut cake and all those things. And I gave my present to my beloved wife. I gave 2 kisses to her. And here comes my son, and he gave the other one. She was happy. Why? Not only I sort of did this, but I wanted to show my son, look, if the day you get married, do this if you like. Yes. It could be another few years that my son is with me. After that, he'll go away. He will study, he will do a job, he'll find a partner, he'll get married, and he'll go. So the time that I have with my son is small. I need to be the best. I need to give the best example to my son. So I chose that. Do it if you like. Do it if you like. Higher the value, higher the love. And she starts thinking, wow, this must be really expensive. And it shows how heavy, how big, how broad your love is for her. Yes. Important. If you are able to do it, that's good. That's good. Look at the last one. But if you forget a birthday, if you forget a wedding anniversary, boom, 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 boom. I will tell you. It's like I'm using my old word acid. It's like acid. Don't miss your spouse's birthday. Don't miss your wedding anniversary day. Celebrate it. Celebrate it. Buy a gift. Give it to him. Give it to her. Yes. It'll only make your marriage grow big. Grow big. All right, let's get into a gift. The last one. A gift is a thing to remember. It is a great symbol of love. Every time she takes this necklace, she will think of this is a symbol of love. Today is a beautiful day. I'll tell you something. My wife went to the church because today we had this first Holy Communicants Mass and they were receiving Holy Communion for the first time. So she came out from her room and she said, look, can you put this necklace around my neck? Guess what? This is the necklace that I gave her on her birthday. So I looked at her and looked at the necklace. It was all good. And I put it around her neck. And she went to the church with it. So do it. I don't know, today everything falls just in place. I should be sharing it with you. All right, let's go to the next one. Next one. If physical touch is the primary love language, the last one. This is one of the best ones. If physical touch is the primary love language of your spouse, pat on the back, holding hands, tells the closeness, thoughts about the spouse. Love. That's love. Now, like Manon said, I'm part of our team where we do pre-Kena talks, preparatory talks for marriages. We get couples participating for these talks. And they are there for 2 days. It's a beautiful scenery to look. You know why? Because the ladies are, or the girls are always, most of them, they put their hands like this. Now the husband is seated like this, and this wife-to-be, her hand comes from inside, and they're all holding like this. Good. What do I see? I see the physical touch. Physical touch. And those husbands, I'll tell you, they don't even, blink. Their eyes are wide open as long as those hands are holding. Hands are holding. Physical touch is very important. I want to share a story. A couple who came to me and they shared this story with me. Something interesting. It's something to do with physical touch, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. They were having some trouble with their marriage, and they came and saw me, and they were sharing this story. And I'll leave the long story. I'll make it short, and I'll tell you like this. So this wife was telling me, Roshan, this husband of mine, now the husband is seated here, the wife seated here, and I'm seated here. It's like a triangle, and above us, the fan is turning. So she was telling me, look, Roshan, my husband, this husband of mine, one day, when I was washing his slacks, normally before I put them inside the washing machine, I check the pockets. And when I was checking the pocket, I found 3 small packets. And I put my hand inside and I took them. What were they? You will be amazed. They were 3 condom packets. Yes. I mean, you and I, we all know for what condoms are used. They're not to blow balloons. No, not to blow balloons. It's for some other purpose. I'm cutting this long story short. I asked from this husband, condom packets inside your pocket, 3 of them. You know what he told me? He was telling me, Roshan, I can count and tell you the number of days that my wife had this conjugal act with me for the past 12 years. I can count and tell you the number of times that we had this conjugal act on bed for the past 12 years. They were married for 12 years. And at that time, wife's head was like this. Head was like this. What is he telling? He's telling, my primary love language is the physical touch, and I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. Don't take me wrong. I'm not giving you a license to go out and do whatever you want. No. Don't take me that way. But I want to emphasize this. His primary love language is physical touch, and she's not giving that. That's the way he likes to receive love. But she's not giving it. You see how it can affect marriages, how the marriage could sink right down. It doesn't cost. It does not cost. Most of these love languages doesn't cost much. It's very important that we get it to our hearts. All right. But I also need to tell you this. It is not a love language always about bedroom. No. You could be a couple, in 60s, 70s. Yes. It's not always about a conjugal act also. Even if you hold hands, that's good enough. Even if you put your hand around your spouse's shoulders, that's good enough. Yes. But the question is, when it is absent, that's where the marriage starts suffering. That we should not leave to happen. So, being physically present, closeness is important. But inappropriate behavior will bring disaster. I need to add that footnote also. Just because your primary love language is physical touch, you should not break rules. No. You must understand the status of your wife also. She could be working from morning till evening or till late night, and she comes on bed and you ask for something. We need to think about this also. We need to think about it. I thought I should add that footnote. Okay, let's get into the next one. Primary love languages of men and women. With most men, physical touch and words of affirmation, these two are the main ones. Similarly, for wives, it's a little different. Wives go by this, or ladies go by this. It's quality time and receiving gifts. These two are the ones. So if you closely see, none of these, if you take quality time and receiving gifts, not even one of those happens to be with men. And the things that men has, they're not with wives. Not with wives. So we need to know what is my spouse's primary love language, and you need to give it because it's not your primary love language. You need to give what she wants. Right? Okay. Let's get into the next one. Even when I talk, I have a question. Even when I talk my spouse's love language, if she does not talk mine, it'll be like this. both facing the two sides. Both facing the two sides. What will happen? Even if I talk my spouse, he doesn't talk or she doesn't talk. I'm giving one-way traffic. I'm giving what she wants. I'm giving what he wants. But he or she is not giving me what I want. You could be talking the wrong love language. This is one possibility. And the second possibility, you might not like. But I need to tell you. And it is this. If there is an extramarital affair with that person, with the other person, even if you give what he wants, what she wants, he or she is not giving back to you because that is being given to someone else. So, this is a possibility. Third one, if in a time of conflict, if those two spouses are fighting with each other, having lots of conflicts, that is not the time to start talking in primary love languages. No. For that, they need to go first and have something else, get it right, and then this is basically something that you enrich. So this is not the time. Right. Last one, whatever the result is, you must love your spouse unconditionally. That is very important. This is what Christ did. This is what Jesus did. Whatever the result is, Jesus loved his spouse, the church, from the bottom of his heart. Yes. And his bride was not giving what he wanted. No, they did not give. You and I did not give Christ what he wanted. But yet, he continues to love us unconditionally. And Jesus said, do it the way I am telling you. He said, follow me. So Jesus is saying, in other words, even if your spouse does not love you the way you want it, keep doing what he wants. Keep doing what she wants. Give that primary love to him or to her. That's important. So just because you don't get it, don't stop giving what he or she wants. This is important. That message is very important. Even after 10, 20 or 30 years in marriage, can I still have love full of feelings? What do you think? 20 years into marriage, 30 years into marriage, can you still be overflowing with love? Yes. Yes. Definitely. Look at this picture. Husband, wife, sun is setting and they are walking towards that side. You could be a couple like this. You could be a couple like this. You could still love. Still love. You could still have your marriage where love is overflowing. Loving unconditionally. You could still be doing this thing. If you are willing to speak the love language of your spouse, yes, then you can do it. So tonight is a beautiful night, a great evening to start identifying what is the primary love language of my spouse and how can I give it to him or to her. All right. In summary, I want to tell you this. You need to decide and love your spouse. It's a decision that you take. Will I receive it or not? Can I give it? That's number one. Number two, you need to give it in the way your spouse wants it. Remember we studied it? You need to give the way your spouse wants it. If she tells you, I want an ice cream, don't bring bananas. That will not work. That will not work. Take ice cream. You know that. When she gives you the list, bring this, bring this, bring this, bring this. What if you bring something else? Pandemonium at home? Yeah. You know to get it right. You need to give. You need to apply the same thing to your love life also. That's where. Look at the third one. Oops. If you don't fill your spouse's love tank, remember where we started? The love tank? If you don't fill your spouse's love tank, your marriage is going down. But with all this 1 hour and 10 minutes of things that I was sharing with you, if you are ready to take to your heart and you want to practice it, try it, I can assure you, the needle from E, it will go to F. It will not take much time. And the best part is, you know how to do it. Because at the beginning, you did it, and that's why your wife, your husband, joined hands with you. Because you got what you wanted from him, from her. So you know how to give it. It's only a question of going back to the drawing board and asking that question. What is her primary love language and what is his primary love language? That's it. All right, we come to the end of it. I want to tell you one thing more, just one thing. It's a Bible quotation, a lovely quotation. 1 John 4:8. 1 John 4:8 tells us, God is love. If you want, you can open the Bible and check 1 John 4:8. It says, God is love. So love language is something, God's language. And that God's love language is inside you. Is inside you. If you are ready to give that God to the other person, God is going to be happy. Make God happy by loving your spouse the way he wants it, the way she wants it. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Roshan, for that important topic. I mean, you beautifully summarized it by saying, I mean, it's God is love, and love language is God's language. And what insights did we get? I mean, you talked about love tank, you talked about spousal experiences, the 5 love languages. I hope all the participants noted them down. The words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and last but not the least, physical touch. Uh, before I just before I just want to thank all who contributed for this webinar. Roshan, there are no questions as such tonight, so probably I'll just thank all who contributed for this webinar, and probably then we can sum it up by a prayer. Is that okay, Roshan? Yes, yes. So just to thank again, the webinar was organized by the Family Apostolate Committee of St. John del Bastone Parish, led by very Reverend Dr. Anthony Fernando Pulle. And again, I would like to thank the crew who was involved in organizing, Errol Johnson and his able team who was a support in terms of technicalities. I would also like to thank Dr. Nilal, Niranjan, Swendrini, Sudarshini, Priya, and Manik, Arjun and Christine, Krisanta and Malkanti for their prayerful support for this webinar. So thank you very much for joining tonight. Please stay tuned for next month as well, when we bring another webinar on a very interesting topic. So Roshan, over to you to say the final prayer and wrap it up.
All right, thank you very much, Manon. Before I get into the prayer, I thought I must share something. You might not know, there are some things happening behind the scenes. I thought I should share one or two things of this. It's always, before we do something like this, there are a lot of people, intercessory prayers going on. And not to say when we do something good, there is always, the enemy is at its full gear trying to stop things. I want to share a small thing here. Tonight, I brought my laptop here and to run this PowerPoint presentation. You won't believe I have not brought my little power pack, which gets into this, to power up my laptop. So when I came here, it was not there. So my hands went to my head like this. And then here comes Errol, IT specialist. He was telling, oh, look, I don't know from where, but we have a spare power pack here. It's not used anywhere, and it's just lying down here. Look at this. It comes. I'll tell you the second one. I was to, I have to drive and come here a few kilometers. So I got into the car, and when I got into the car, the next thing, the moment I put the key, what I saw was on the dashboard, ABS light, brake light, everything. It's like a big Pandora, and the car is not moving. Yes, God always wins. So the best part is that, luckily, my wife just brought the other car, and I was able to get into that car and come here. So you see how it works. It's beautiful, Satan always tries to stop you with various things, but you should not give up. God wins. All right, we'll wind up this session with a prayer. You can also join me. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, our loving Father, Jesus, Holy Spirit, Lord, we thank you for this time that you gave us. Lord, we thank you for being with each one of us. Thank you for these insights that you gave for us to take to our hearts and to practice them in our marriages. Oh God, you give us strength, each one of us, to put them into practice, not only to listen, but to put them into practice. Oh God, we thank each and every one who participated in this webinar. Bless them, Lord, and keep both your hands on top of their heads, and let your spirit of love flow through from their heads to the bottom of their toes. Lord, thank you for being with our team. Thank you for all the support that you've given us. Thank you for making this webinar a reality. Thank you for blessing each one of us, Lord, tonight. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Thank you, Roshan.